Okay, welcome back, everyone, as we continue our Sunday night marathon, getting ahead, Ezel Chacham Haraya Esanaylad, who is wise, one who sees the future and doesn't want to sit through a 4-blat daf, so therefore we give of our time in order to get ahead. Also, we want that Shalom should not have to worry about a daf as he is traveling tomorrow, so he's getting ahead. What a smart guy. Top line of Daf Kuf Yud Aleph Amid Aleph. Lochein hirchiva she'ol nafsha. Therefore, hell widened itself. Upara fiha, and opened its mouth. Leveli chayk, without any holding back. Now, what does this refer to? Amarei Shlokish. Reish Lakish says that Gehenna will open up even for somebody that just didn't do one mitzvah. Rabbi Yochanan says, no, that's too harsh. Hashem would not like such a strict view. Even if a person only learned one law, he will be safe from Gehenna. In the whole earth, says Hashem, Pishnayim ba yichraisu v'yvo, 2/3 will be cut down and perish, v'ashlishis, and 1/3 yivasir ba will remain. Now, it could have said shlish, and it says shlishis, so therefore the Rishonim says this means 1/3 of 1/3. So Amrei Shlokish Shlishi Shel Shem. This means the 1/3 of Shem, meaning Arpachshad and from Arpachshad came Avram, and 1/3 of that will be kept from Gehenna. But 2/3 even from Avram will go to Gehenna. Hashem doesn't like that interpretation. It's 1/3 of 1/3. No, it's 1/3 of Noach is Shem, and 1/3 of Shem is Arpachshad. But from Arpachshad, everybody will be spared from Gehenna. I will acquire you, and I will take you. You really have to mute people over here. And I will take you. One from a city, and 2 from a family. Only one from a city. Hashem won't like this explanation. One from a city, and now they're learning mishpacha as a medina, as a province, as a country, and 2 from a country, mizakin kol mishpacha, will save the entire country. Yosef Rav Kana coming to Rav. V'Yosef ka'amar dvarim kiksavam, that means 1 from a city and only 2 from a nation. Amalei Rav, Hashem doesn't like that interpretation. 1 from the city will save the whole city. And 2 from the nation, will save the whole mishpacha. Now, he first shampooed, Rav Kahana first shampooed and lathered his hair, and then V'Salach v'Yosef coming to Rav, and then he came to learn. In other words, he pampered himself, relatively pampered himself. You won't be found in the world of the living. Amalei, Rav Kahana said, you're cursing me? Amalei, I said, no, Krokamina. I'm telling you a pasuk. Living, I meant the Torah. Kimatzoi matzachaim. And if you want to be zeichet to the Torah, it says Zeichat Torah Adam Kiyamas Ba'ayil. Eina Torah Miskayemes El B'misha Meimes Atzmayalav. Not somebody that pampers himself. Like Timtza Torah B'misha Mechaya Atzmaleh. Torah is not going to be found by somebody who pampers himself. the Torah is acquired with some hardship. That's a good thing to have in mind when we figure it's kind of hard to sit and listen to two blat. So thank you all for putting up with my shenanigans and joining us. I was kind of hoping that Mark would be here. Mark told me that he would try to make it here tonight. He's very busy. Tanya, we learned in the Brisa, Reb Simai Aimer, Reb Simai says, Nemar v'lekachti eschem li la'am. It says, I will take you to me as a nation, right? One of the Arba L'Shenis Geula, that we drink the Arba Kaisis. V'nemar ve'veisi eschem, and I will bring you into the land. Makish yitziyasim Mitzrayim l'biyasim la'aretz. We juxtapose the exit from Mitzrayim to the entering into the land. Ma biyasim la'aretz. Shnayim mesamach ribui, only 2 of the 600,000, right? Only Yeshua and Kalev. Af yitziyasim Mitzrayim shnayim mesamach ribui. When we got out of Mitzrayim, it was only 2 out of 600,000. In other words, the rest of them died. Only 1/300,000th of what was in Egypt got out of Egypt. The rest of them died in the plague of darkness, or they died during the 210 years that they were in Egypt. Amar Rava v'chein li'yemaisa Mashiach. And so also to the Yemaisa Mashiach, only 2 out of 600,000 will get to the Yemaisa Mashiach. And it's a very small percentage. Shenamar v'ansa shama, and I will afflict you there, kimei neureha, like the days of your youth, ukiyayim aloisam eretz Mitzrayim, and like when you came out of Mitzrayim, when it was only 1 out of 300,000. Tanya, Amar Abelazar Rabbi Yossi, Pam achas nichnasti l'Alexandria shel Mitzrayim. One time I entered into Alexandria, Mitzrayim. Matzasi zaken echad, I found an elder there. Let me show you what my ancestors did to your ancestors. Mehem tovu biyam, some of them they drowned in the sea. Mehem hargu b'charev, some of them they killed by the sword. In other words, those were the ones that they killed for Paro to bathe in the blood, 150 in the morning and 150 in the evening. And mehem machu b'binyan, and from some of them they crushed in the walls of Pithom and Ramses. V'al davar zeh nenesh Moshe Rabbeinu, and because of complaining about this plight, Moshe Rabbeinu was actually punished. Shenemar u'me'oz basi el Paro l'daber b'shmecha, and since I came to Paro to speak in your name, hey Ra'lo Mazeh, you did evil to this nation. Now, you never tell Hashem that He does evil, because Kol Ma'ada Avi Rachman L'Tov Avid. Amalei HaKadosh Baruch Chaval Al Da'avnin V'Loi Mishtaken. Woe to those that are lost and are not found anymore. Oy, Harikam Apamim Nigleisi Al Avram Yitzchak V'Yaakov B'Kel Shakai. Many times I appeared to Avram Yitzchak and Yaakov as Kel Shakai. V'Loi Hiru Al Midaisai. They didn't have any thoughts against me. V'Loi Amru Li Mashmecha. And they didn't ask me, what's your name? Amarti Lavram Kumas Halchbar Tzarka L'Rachba. Go walk through the land, its length and its breadth. I'm going to give you the whole land. Yet, when it come to bury his wife, he couldn't bury her unless he paid through the nose. Bikesh Makam Likbar Sarah, V'Loi Matzah, he couldn't find a place, until he bought for a huge amount of 400 meis shekel kesef. Yet, V'Loi Hira Al Midaisa, he didn't think, but I said that I was giving him the whole land. Amarti li Yitzchak go b'aretz hazayis, live in this land, ve'eya imach, and I'll be with you, v'avarechecha, and I'll bless you. It'll be a blessed existence. Yet bikshu avodav mayim lishtais, they wanted water to drink, v'loi matzu, and they didn't find it, ache asa meriva, until they had a quarrel with the Philistines. Shenema v'yirbu roi grar, the shepherds of Gerar argued him roi Yitzchak, leima lanu amayim, the water is ours. So where is the bracha that Hashem said He would bless him? Yet v'lo yiru ha'achem midaisa. Yitzchak didn't complain. Amarti liYaakov ha'eretz ha'ata sheicha v'leha the land that you're lying upon, l'cha etnena, I'm giving it to you. Yet, Bikish Makam Limtay, you wanted to find a place to pitch his tent. V'lei matzi, he couldn't find anywhere until he had to buy it for 100 kesita. And yet, v'lei yirah achamidaisai. V'alai amrli, and they didn't say Ma'ashmecha, what's your name? V'ata amartali Ma'ashmecha betchila. First you said, what's your name? Then v'achshav v'ata amrli v'atzala yitzalta esamecha. You're not saving your people. You're complaining to me. You say I'm doing bad. Now you will see. What does it mean? Now you will see. You will see the successful conquest of Paro. But you won't see the defeat of the 31 kings in Canaan. You won't merit to get into the land. Vayamar Moshe v'yikid artzav yishtachu. Moshe hurried up, bowed down to the ground, and kneeled down and bowed down. Ma ra Moshe. This was when Hashem appeared with the Yud Gimel Midas, and he said, Erech Apayim. So Reb Chanina ben Gamliel Amar Erech Apayim ra. He bowed down when he heard the attribute of that Hashem is long suffering, and therefore he will have patience for the Cheta Egel. Rabbanan Imrei Emes ra. He saw truth, and the scariness of truth had him bow down in supplication that Hashem shouldn't destroy Klal Yisrael. Tanya command Yama Erech Apayim ra. He saw that Hashem was long suffering. The Tanya, Kisha'ola Moshe Lamarim, when Moshe Rabbeinu went up to heaven, Matzala Kadosh Baruch Hu Yosef v'Kaisav Erech Apayim, that he'll be long suffering. Amal L'Fanav Rebbeinu Shalom Erech Apayim L'Tzadikim, long suffering to the righteous. Amalei Aflu Risham, even to the wicked. Amalei Risham Yavedu, let the wicked perish. Amalei Hash Dechazis, now we'll see. Maidim Ibayilach, we'll see what you want. Kishachati Yisrael, when Klal Yisrael said, Amalei Loi Kachamarti Li Erech Apayim L'Tzadikim, Hashem said to Moshe, didn't you say patience only for the righteous? So Moshe countered, it's not important what I said. But he said, look what you, Rebbeinu Shalom, Amal Afan of Rebbeinu Shalom, V'loi Kachamarti Li, didn't you tell me Aflu Rishayim? V'ainu D'chsiv V'ata, now Yigdal Na Hashem, Yigdal Na Kayach Hashem, let your strength be magnified, kasher dibar tolema, like you said, that it should be erech apayim even for the wicked. Rav Choga Habesalik v'Azal b'dargad bei Rabba Bar Shila. He was climbing up the ladder of the yeshiva, the steps of the yeshiva of Rabba Bar Shila. Shamelo Yunuka, you're the child. The Amar Eidoisecha Nemnu Maloid. Your testimonials are very trustworthy. Leveischa Nava Kodesh. Your house is fitting holiness. Hashem, may Hashem la'oirech yamim. May Hashem be, and we're interpreting oirech yamim, that you should be long suffering for a long time. V'samach le'tfila l'Moshe, this was the prayer of Moshe, that Hashem should be patient. Amashma mina, erech apayim ra, he saw that there would be long suffering and patience from Hashem. Hashem will be a crown, Barosh called Tzaddik for Tzaddik, on the head of every righteous person. Hashem will be La Teres Tzvi, for a garland of beauty, L'Tzviras Tefara, a crown of splendor, L'She'er Amai, for the remnants of his nation. My La Teres Tzvi, L'Tzviras Teferes, the Lashon of Tzvi means desire. Savi v'chamid v'ragig, the yilun v'leusa, it says in Akdamas, it's desire. La'oisim ritzaynai, it means that Hashem will be a crown, a garland for those that do His will, that want Him, u'mitzapim lishuasai, and they look forward to His salvation. Yachal l'kol, I might think everybody will get a crown. Talmud laim l'shar amai, l'misha meisim atzmai kishirayin, like one who makes himself like a remnant, in other words, to humble people. Hashem has high regard for humble people. L'ruach mishpat, for a spirit of judgment, L'yoyshiv ala mishpat, for those that sit in judgment, U'legvura, and for might, Meshive milchama shara, that hold back the war at the gate, turns back the war at the gate. Now, what are these attributes? So the Gemara dissects it. U'leruach mishpat, a spirit of judgment. Zeh roide es yitzray. This is a person that controls his yetzer. This is, of course, one of the great attributes of life. A person that's roide es yitzray. He has a yetzer hara to talk in shul, and he controls his yetzer hara. He has a yetzer hara to look at things that he's not supposed to, and he controls his yetzer hara. He has a yetzer hara to raise his voice, very common now, right, before Pesach, to bark, and he controls himself. U'liyoshiv ala mishpat, one who sits in judgment. This is a person that judges a truthful law in its full truth. This is one who prevails against his yetzer. Rashi says that misgaber b'yitzray is a higher madrega than roida b'yitzray. Roida b'yitzray is just one who curbs his yetzer hara. Misgaber b'yitzray is that instead of doing an aveira, he right away does a mitzvah. That's misgaber b'yitzray. Meishivei milchama zeh shenoisiv v'noisiv milchamta shel Torah. This is a person that engages in the battle of Torah. Sha'ara elu shemashkimu ma'arivim b'bati knesi oisiv b'bati midrashas. These are those that get up in the synagogues early and stay late, and in the study halls. Now, Amra midas hadin lefnei HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the attribute of justice says before Hashem, Rebbeinu Shalom ma nishtanu elu me'elu. Why are these people that have these traits different than other people that do a lot of mitzvahs? Amala v'gam elu b'yayin shagu u'b'shecher tov. If a person does a lot of mitzvahs but doesn't work on controlling his yetzer hara, and doesn't work on learning Torah and engaging in the battle of Torah, which is the antidote to yetzer hara, they are like people just stumbling with wine and wandering with strong beverages. Paku, they at the end will stumble, and plilia, and they will be brought to judgment. Vein puka Gehanim, that's a reference to Gehanim. Shenam aloisia zoislach lepuka. Let not this be a source for the netherworld. Vein plilia ala dayanim. Shenam avanasam b'flilim, it will be given in judgment. So a person has to adopt a protective stance. It's not enough to just do good deeds. A person has to adopt a protective stance against the yetzer hara by working on curbing his yetzer hara, and that's why it's important for a person to know what their yetzer hara is, right? Ezo giba hakovesh es yitzray, not es yetzer hara, es yitzray. Everybody has to know what their yetzer hara is. Different people have different yetzer haras. Some people, they're extremely lazy, so they don't bother going to minyan. Other people, they're very greedy. They're very cheap, and they don't give tzedakah. So there's all kinds of people. Now, almost finished, Rabbi said. We're almost there. The members of a subverted city, that's a city that was subverted to idolatry. If the majority of the city is subverted to idolatry, then the members of the city get beheaded and their property is destroyed. Privately, if somebody worships idolatry, they get skila, but their property is not destroyed. So they also lose their afterlife. Shenemar yotzu anoshim b'nei b'li'ayel mikirbecha. People that are worthless leave from your midst forever. Now, even though this part of the verse really talks about the subverters, not the subverted, but we apply it also to those that are subverted, that they lose their afterlife. They're sent out mikirbecha. But now we're going to expound this on the people that subverted the city. Yatsu anashim b'nei Belial mipkebecha, people that are worthless, leave from your midst, vayadichu es yoshvei Iran, and they push aside the inhabitants of the city. Ve'enon neragim, the people of the city are not executed with beheading, unless the subverters were from that city, and from their tribe, until the majority of the city is subverted, and they were subverted by men. If they were subverted by women or minors, or they were subverted by a minority, or that the subverters came from outside of the city, then they would be judged as individuals. They would get skila, but their money would not be destroyed. Now, when the majority of the city is subverted, you need 2 witnesses and warning for each one of the members that worshipped. Now, the chumrah of individuals over a majority of the city, the Yechidim get stoned, which is more severe. They keep their money isn't destroyed. The majority of the city, besides, they get beheaded. Their money is destroyed. We smote the people of the city, Azais, by the sword. Now, it has to be the majority of the city. If there is in the city, Hachameres Vagameles, if there is a donkey caravan or a camel caravan that was in the city, that passed through the city, but because of them and the fact that they didn't sin, they added to the census, and there is now less than the majority of the city, then then they saved the city. Shenema Hakre Moisa, you destroy it, Ves Kol Asheba, and everything in it, Ves Behemta, Lefi Chariv, by the sword, but that's only if it's the majority of the city. Mikan Amru Nichse Tzadikim Shebesaycha, the property of even the innocent people in the city, Oivden, Shebechutzala, property that's owned by the innocent people of the city, that's outside of the city, Platon, that's not destroyed. But Vivisham, property owned by those that would be executed, Bein Shebesaycha, Bein Shebechutzala, whether it's in the city, whether it's outside of the city, Hari Elu Oivim, they're destroyed. Shnemar, Ves Kol Shlola Tikbites, all the booty you should gather, El Toich Rechava, to the square. Even booty that's outside of the city is gathered into the city. Im Ein La Rechav, if the city doesn't have a square, Eisen La Rechav. If the city square is outside of the walls of the city, we enlarge the walls to embrace the square inside the city. We burn the city and all of its booty, burnt completely to Hashem. Shlala, but we only burn the booty, but not property of heaven. If there's hekdesh in the city, yipadu, it should be redeemed. Trumas, the truma yirkavu, it's left to rot. Ma'aser sheni v'kisvei HaKodesh, Ma'aser sheni and kisvei HaKodesh are hidden. Yiganzu. Kalil Hashem alikecha, like a burnt offering to Hashem. Amrab Shimon, Amra HaKadosh Baruch Hu, ata oisa din be'ir adidachas, if you judge the ir adidachas properly, if you do a din with the Eranidachas, Malani Aleichem, I consider it Ki'ilu Atem Malim Oila Kol Lefanai. It's as if you brought a burnt offering before me. And we welcome in Dov Selkowitz. It's always best to come even for the last little bits. We're on Kuf Yud Aleph Amid Beis, towards the bottom, at the first intermediate wide line. V'oisatel Oilam, the Ir Nidachas shall be a heap forever. Lo seyasa, it should never be rebuilt. Now, it should never be rebuilt even to gardens and orchards. Rabbi Kiva Aimer, no. Loisivna oid l'kamaishai, so you can't rebuild the city to the way it was. Ain't an ivnis. Aval nasas higanas pardesim, but you could make it gardens and orchards. V'lo yidbak b'yodchem u'uma min acherim. There should not cleave anything to your hands from that which is supposed to be destroyed. Shekolzman shirisham ba'olam. If there's any remaining vestiges of the wicked in the world, charayin af ba'olam. There's anger in the world. Avdu risham min ha'olam. If the wicked and all of their remnants is destroyed from the world, then in the stalik charayin af min ha'olam, then anger is removed from the world. Now, Tan Rabbanan. Yatsu Hain, the leaves from the city, it says Yatsu Anoshim B'nei Belial, Hain, only people from the city, V'loi Shluchim. If they send people from outside of the city, or they send women, we don't say Shluchim Shaladim K'maisai, that doesn't count. Anoshim, it has to be at least 2 people that subverted the city. Ein anoshim pachas mebeis. Davar acher, anoshim, it has to be men. V'loi noshim, not women. Anoshim, v'loi ketanim. B'nei b'liyayil, it has to be worthless people. Banim sheporku ol shamayim etzavarayim. People who cast the yoke of heaven from their necks. Mikir becha, it has to be inside the interior of Eretz Yisrael. V'loi min hasaper, it can't be a border city. Yashvei iram, it has to be members of the city. V'lo yashvei ir acheres, it can't be members of a different city. Lamar shetzrichim edim v'asra, you need witnesses and warning. L'kol echad ve'echad, for each and every member until you have the majority of the city. Oh wow, Rabbi said this was a job. We want to thank you very much for learning 2 blot with us tonight. Tomorrow night again at 8:15. I want to remind everybody we are looking for a sponsor for the Haggadah Shir this week, Wednesday night. 718-916-3100. We still don't have one sponsor for the Haggadah Shir, so somebody please come forward. rmmwsi@aol.com. We're also looking for a sponsor for Masechtas Makis. Oh, Makis, it's a beautiful thing. Many people will finish Masechta with us. It's a great project for Bachrim, for Bein Hazmanim, to learn the Masechta. They could finish it for Bein Hazmanim. And Mitzvah Hashem, we bought special new whips to use for Marshall, genuine cowhide, by the way, and and also some donkey hide, as you will see. Have a very good night, everybody.